Welcome to another episode of Conversations with the Fly Aunt. I am your Fly Aunt, Ebony Ivory, and we have the Fly Daughter in the building today. Introduce yourself to the people.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sanaya. I'm the Fly Daughter.
All right, and we're just going to get straight into it. We got a nice little episode planned for you guys today. We are going to discuss college readiness, being prepared for college, and what to expect when you go off to college. So we have our residential college graduate in the building. Woo, woo. Tell everybody what your degree is in, since you know everything.
I have my Bachelor's of Science in Nursing.
Awesome sauce. So let's just go ahead. We're going to go ahead and jump right into it. Sanaya, tell the people some things that they should do when even considering what school they want to go to, what college they want to go to. What are some things that you looked at when choosing your school?
So when I chose my school, it honestly just depends on you and what you want to do. I went to 2 different colleges. I split both of my time in those colleges between 2 years and a half. So I was in college for 5 years total. But initially when I was in high school in my senior year and what I was pursuing, I was very adamant about going to school out of state. I was very adamant about going to HBCU, and I was adamant about getting accepted into a nursing program. So those were things that I was looking at. Now that I'm older and I'm more objective and I've experienced more, I would say when you're looking to apply for colleges, you definitely should be looking at finances. Is this a school that you're going to be able to afford in the long run? What is their acceptance rate? If you are looking to get into a specific program, is that program accredited? Is the program still active? Just things like that. And if you are looking to get into a specific organization, I would say looking to see if that organization is available at your campus and if that organization is active as well. But those are my things that I was very interested in when I went off to college. So when I applied, that's what I was applying for. And as well as that, I will say that the acceptance rate is important, which I already just repeated, but it is important to look at how much your application fee is. Kind of based on how much you're paying just to apply to the college will give you a good gist on how much the college will cost.
In addition, I want to piggyback off that when she speaks about the finances. You should be taking a look at how much is the program you're going to enroll in going to cost you per credit, because not everybody will get scholarships. Not everyone will be able to afford out of pocket. And even if you do have scholarships and you do have other means of financial support, it still may not cover your complete cost. So that is going to be important. How much credits, how much are these credits going to cost you? And then the field that you are going into, will it cover the cost of you if you taking out loans? Is it going to cover the cost of that? Because there are many people that graduate, they have these exuberant loans that are due, and the career or field that they're in can't even cover the monthly payments on that. So those are definitely things that we want you to consider when you're choosing your college and when you're choosing your career. Very important things.
Yeah, definitely agree.
Thank you. So let's talk about it. Parents, getting your kids ready for college is not about the dorm room look, bed risers, schedules, all of that nice fluffy stuff. We want to talk about getting your young adult, because this is what they will be when you're getting ready to go off to school. A young adult. We want to talk about you getting your young adult ready. So for me, with this one right here, my young adult, I heavily focused on making sure that me and her had a open communication dialogue at all times. It was important for me to build trust, reliability, and listening, okay? Listening to your young adult is going to be crucial during these college phases, okay? So let's talk about some of the things that you get accepted, you go off to college. Let's tell the parents the college tour. It was if you're in a position to attend a college tour with your child for the school that they get accepted into, I think it is very, very helpful and is very, very important to go, because you are going to learn things that the website of this illustrious school does not tell you. You are going to get the nitty gritty. So Sanaya's first school was TSU, and it was from where we were about 4 or 5 hours. It's out of state. So we had the opportunity. First thing I noticed, and many people could probably attest to it when it comes to HBCUs, baby, that grass was cut, clean.
Flowers brand new.
Manicured.
Okay.
All of the things are the things. So when you pulled up, you knew, oh yeah, this campus is well maintained.
Mm-hmm.
So the college tour started out. We were inside of the gym. I'm not sure. It may have a different name. Don't know. And I apologize in advance. But everybody, attendees and parents, we were all in one room. They gave us like an overall speech. You know, you get your little historical facts and this and that. But the real tour begins in the breakout sessions when the younger folks that have volunteered to take us around the campuses and to the dormitories, that's where the real tour begins. Because guess what I learned, guys? I learned that the hall that my daughter would be staying in, they're allowed to have male company. And that is something that I was not expecting. I had no clue that they could have male visitors at the dorm. So that was a shock to me. Another shock to me was that they also the dorm had its proper name. What was the dorm?
It's called Wilson Hall. It's an all-girls dorm.
Yeah, so that's the part that I got from her. An all-girls dorm, Wilson Hall. However, the nickname of this hall was the Zoo. Can you imagine? Can you imagine as a parent? Look at her.
It is the Zoo, though. I'm
sending my first daughter off to college, and her dorm hall is called the Zoo. Mm-hmm. Like, come on now. But that's why I say it's important to go to the college tour so you can get this kind of background information. These are the things you want to know. So another thing that we learned on the college tour, and this is also where your tuition dollars are being spent, is mental health. I was able to speak with one of the mental health advocates, counselors, employed by the school. They gave me cards. They told me, gave me awesome tips on, if you're unable to like really get in touch with your student, or you feel like there's a change, they have ways to do mental, health check-ins with them and things like that. And that's important to know. That's something that you may not be aware of. That is, your tuition dollars are at work for you. So it's important that you take advantage of all of those things. So what else can you tell the people about, we'll switch gears from the tour. Go on tour, guys, okay?
Yeah, definitely go on tour.
What can you tell the people about maybe how to meet people? You're new on campus. Now for you, you're out of state. You're from a whole different state. How did you meet people?
So ways that I met people was, this day and age, like social media is like such a big thing. It's so prominent. So you can always go on like Twitter or Instagram and like do hashtag like TSU or whatever your college initials are, abbreviation is. You can go and you can do that, like hashtag college name, freshman, whatever year that you're coming in. Like, so at that time, my year that I was coming in was 2018. So I could do hashtag TSU 18, TSU freshman 18. And there's other people that they're looking for friends. They're looking to try to like get to know more people, make friends prior to they get on campus. So I remember when I was getting into my freshman year, they had like a big group me, and it was a group me with just all the students just in that class. And then they also did a group me with just your residence hall. Okay. So that was a good way to meet people. I would say, like, I'm an ambivert, so I'm an introvert and I'm an extrovert. So I like to read people before I start to introduce myself and, like, build friendships with them. So I would make friends with people that I was in class with. I feel like it's always important to have at least one friend in each class, one person that you're friends with. So that's how I ended up making my best friends at that time when I was in college. I had class with them. I also had a friend who we ended up, sometimes you'll have a friend that you are scheduled every class with, and it's not intentional, but usually freshmen get the last pick of the litter, so you're going to have a lot of 8 a.m.s, a lot of 11 a.m.s. So I would say that college also they have a lot of events. They do, the first week of school is usually freshman week, so it's just events just for freshmen. I mean, other classes usually can come, but it's usually just for freshmen, and that's a good time to, like, meet people. They sometimes do breakout groups, or you start meeting people who are, like, familiar, or, you know, they're interested in things that you're interested in as well. So that's a good way to make friends. And sometimes, too, like, even though they call Wilson the zoo, it is a little bit of a zoo, but since the residence hall was so big, you found people, some girls did hair, some girls may have did nails, they did makeup, some girls, they may have sold snacks in their room, or they did like cash rides and things like that, and that's another way to get acquainted with people as well.
Okay, dope. That's a good rundown. So you can meet people from classes. They have on campus activities that are leading off with how to meet people. So there are opportunities for you to meet people. You won't feel the need to, like, hey, I'm so and so.
Yeah, you don't have to do that. It's definitely different ways to meet people. But some people are introverted, and, you know, they may not be super interested in meeting people. So, like, what I did is I always made sure I was cool with my roommates. So my first initial roommate, we started messaging each other maybe a month prior to going off to school. Okay. So we were very well acquainted with each other when we got to school. So we would do things together. We'd go places together. I'd introduce her to my other friends, and then they started hanging out. Like, wait, y'all my friends. But then I would just slide myself into that little friend group too. Like, hey, like, you know I introduced y'all, but I want to come. Like, I want to hang out with y'all and do stuff that y'all are doing too. Like, so I would do things like that.
I love that. Thank you so much. So, and also speak a little bit more specific, because I know that there's a group for everything on college campus. Like, so what were some of the groups that maybe you were interested in?
I ended up joining an all-female organization, so I was interested in that. But they also have other groups for your major or things that you want to pursue. Like, they have organizations for people who want to be lawyers. There's organizations for people who want to be business professionals, or they're interested in community service. There's some organizations that are just based solely on community service. You can join, like, the NAACP. It's just so many different things. Like, it just depends on what you're attracted to and what you're interested in. If you want to be around, there's like dance troops, it's modeling troops. Like, it just depends on what it is that you like.
Okay, so there's literally something.
It's something for everybody. And even if it's not an official organization, I've seen people create organizations. If there's not an organization for you that you want to join, you can create your own organization. Or sometimes people, they may be all interested in one thing, and then they kind of group up and hang out, and it may not be an official campus organization, but it's an organization that people may know about. Like, okay, these are people who are interested in this specific topic, like maybe computers, et cetera, and so forth, and then they join in and they do that together.
Love that. All right, so let's spin it around just a little bit. So now you're at your university and you have a roommate. Could you give us, like, a few tips, like how to be like a good
roommate,
a good global, roommate, like, be a good noodle?
So
what are some tips you can give us?
To start off, when you get paired with your roommate, most colleges do like a quiz per se, and they kind of pair you with someone based off of that. So it'll be based off of, are you up all night? Do you stay up all night? Do you go to sleep early? Are you an early riser, a late sleeper? What time do you usually study? Do you have pets? Like, things like that, and they'll base you off of that. I would say that I'm a superb roommate. I didn't get along with every roommate that I had. Some people just have different personalities, but I would say a great way to get to know your roommate or to be a good roommate, I ask them, okay, what are things that you absolutely don't like? And what are things that you're okay with? Because that's a big way to step on people's toes. Everybody comes from totally different backgrounds. Like, and
you can't forget that.
You can't forget that. Like, there's people, the way you guys communicate is different. Slang is different where I'm from. saying what's up is like, oh, it's a term of endearment, but somebody else from a different state, if I say what's up to them, they think I'm trying to fight. So you have to be very mindful of where that person is from and what they're used to. And people, and not even just that, people's households are different.
So you need to have, I would say, cultural intelligence.
Yes, definitely. So I would ask them like, okay, are you okay with this? Are you not okay with this? Or these are things that I like. Like, okay, I may have a guy over. Like, are you comfortable with being, because every room in college is different. Like when I was at school, it was 2 people, but it was 1 room.
Right.
So, and when you go to other colleges, it may be a dorm, but you get your own room, you get your own bathroom, and you guys just share a common area like the kitchen, living room, things like that. So you have to be mindful of that. I stayed in just 1 room. So, okay, if I invite a guy over or something like that, are you okay with that? Or even a female friend, like, are you okay with that?
So kind of just basically establishing your housekeeping rules, maybe, and establishing boundaries between the 2 of you to figure those things out. So that's definitely a good way to move around, establishing boundaries with somebody. And say if you were running into any issues with your roommates, who would you go to?
So that's the whole point of having an RA / a resident assistant. I was a resident assistant at one point too during my college tenure. So you go to your resident assistant, you ask them like, well, I'm having this issue. Can you come in and can you solve this? Either they'll make suggestions or they'll step in. And if that doesn't work, they will escalate it to, I believe it may be like a resident coordinator, or it's the person who's above the whole entire building. Okay. Your issue will get escalated to the person that is in control of that or knows how to solve those type of problems.
Okay,
basically.
Perfect.
So you don't have to solve issues on your own. You will have someone who can do that for you and will assist you with that. And if solving it on your own works for you, then it works for you. But not like for me, I know I'm not. Some people may feel like I come on too strong. So I know that it may be best if I bring in a neutral party, because I don't want anyone to feel like I'm coming down their throat or jumping down their throat when I'm just trying to get my point across.
Okay. I like that. Okay, so we have some ways to navigate that. Let's talk about, now we're hanging out, we're going out to party. Let's talk about some party etiquette a little bit, and like who you should be hanging out with. Like when you go to a party, like me, like I like to leave at a certain time. So like, should you have that established already? Like, hey, we going to this party. Are we just going with the flow of the vibe, or are we leaving at a certain time? Because hey, I got class the next day. I got this to do or that to do. So what is your party etiquette tips?
If you got class the next day, you shouldn't be going out, because don't nobody want to hear that. Like, if you and your friends going out, you and your roommate, you and your good sis, your good bro going out, and you got class, you're going to be crying about going to class in the morning, stay home. If you feel like you're not going to be able to get up, you shouldn't go out. I just feel like that in general. Like, even I work. If I know I have to work tomorrow, I'm not going out, because I know I'm not going to feel like going to work. But I would say, as far as party etiquette, it's trial and error. You have to figure out who you can go out with and who you can't go out with. Like, for example, me and my best friend, the best friend that I have now, we've been friends since the 6th grade, been best friends since the 11th grade. So we've been to quite a few parties together. And we know we don't have to say, oh, we're leaving at this time. We know, okay, we can give each other that look like, girl, you ready to go? Okay, let's go. Like, I know she's watching my back, I'm watching her front. Like, I know she's not going to let anything happen to me or anything like that. But sometimes it's about discernment and it's about trial and error. So I would say, if you're going to go out to a party, always go with somebody. Never go anywhere by yourself. You should always have a buddy system. You should always be with someone that you feel like you remotely trust. You may find out later that this isn't someone that you can trust. And like I said, it's trial and error. But you should always go out with someone. For example, a situation I went through, I went out with this girl, but she had a mutual friend, and I did not know this mutual friend very well, but the mutual friend was a driver. And it was a big outside party, and after it was pushing like 1, 2 in the morning, I was kind of telling her like, hey girl, like, I'm ready to go. I think, the party is like dying down. We should leave. She was like, no, I don't want to leave. I'm not ready. And I can't say nothing to her because I'm a college student. I don't got no money for no Uber. So this is my ride, and my ride was free. So I had to just stick it out with my ride. I kid y'all not, 10, 15 minutes later, the party ended up getting shot up.
Oh my gosh, not it end up being shot up.
Party got shot up. Like, when I say people got hit, people got hurt, like, shot up, but it's just like I was trusting my gut and I knew it was time to go. But that's kind of like one of those things, like when you have to be mindful. Like I never went out with her again. I can tell you that now. None of them. I never went out with any of them again. But you have to just trust your gut when you know it's time to leave. It's time to go, because sometimes you can end up in an unfortunate situation because people don't want to leave.
And I think you also mentioned an important part about trusting your instincts and trusting your gut. Mm-hmm. In college, you're not really going to have the opportune time to always run things past people all the time. Mm-hmm. So this is definitely a time where you're going to have to listen to that little feeling you get in your tummy.
When it don't feel right, it start to turn.
Or that little thing that's gnawing at you that's telling you you need to do this or you need to do that or something isn't right. That's the time you got to hone into that energy and start trusting yourself and listening to yourself and knowing when it's time to roll out and get out of Dodge. And there's nothing wrong with it. If you get the urge that says, something is not right, follow suit. Follow that and just leave. Nobody else has the right to judge you because you're trying to be safe.
And at the end of the day, this may sound a little harsh, but this is a dog-eat-dog world, especially college. It's every man for themselves. You came to that college by yourself, you're going to leave that in God willing, graduate that college by yourself. So you have to put yourself first. If something doesn't feel right, even though that's your good sis and that's your best friend and y'all been roommates since freshman year and now y'all approaching junior and this is a person that you trust, understandable. But if something does not feel right, remove yourself from that situation. Even if you go home and nothing ends up happening, still just remove yourself from that situation. You just never know, and you never know what people's intentions are. Sometimes that person that you feel like you trust the most will take advantage of you because they know that you trust them.
That's a word.
They will put you in a very tribulous situation because they know that you trust them, and they'll take advantage of you. And you don't want to be in a situation where you're like, dang, like I trusted her and this is how she did me. And sometimes that's gonna happen. It's life. But if you feel like something's not right, it's not right. Remove yourself.
Well, let's talk about this, the taking advantage part. I would definitely say that taking advantage of people when it comes to social media in college. I notice a lot of times when kids are in college, they kind of put their money woes or their money troubles on social media. Oh, I need money for this. I need money for that. I want to tell you to be mindful of that because that opens you up for scammers. Have you heard of any ways? I know I've heard of things on social media where people will like follow college kids' accounts and when they get to talking about, they are looking for ways, they're going off to college or need money or need work. Have you heard of anything?
I've heard of like different situations. Sometimes people make like fake accounts of you and they'll try to make a fake account and like scam your friends or scam people around you. Okay. Or sometimes people will see that you're in a vulnerable state, and that's why you have to be very mindful of what you post on social media because people will try to take advantage of you based off of the things that you post and how you portray yourself. But I've seen people, they'll DM you and be like, oh, are you trying to make some quick money, or do you bank with Chase, Wells, Navy, et cetera, and so forth, and then they'll try to take advantage of your bank account. I've seen people pass out bad checks, bad money orders, and then when you do deposit in your account, it'll put your account in the negative. So you just have to be mindful. I think it's just important that parents educate their kids on this is what can happen, because sometimes the lack of education, you don't know until you're in that position. Yeah. So I think it's important to like talk about those things with your kids. Like, people will try to take advantage of you, or even your friends will try to take advantage of you. Like they may do situations where I've seen people will send like their boyfriend or like one of their friends to their friend. And, you think, oh, this is my friend, I can trust this person. And because you can trust that person, they end up, what we say, cracking your card or like cracking your bank account, things like that. And you thought that you could trust that person and you thought that they were going to give you some money, but it ends up not going in that direction. So you have to just be mindful. I would say do your research about it And again, if it doesn't feel right, if it does feel sketchy, or if it feels like you have to sneak around or be secretive to do it, then it's just something you shouldn't be involved in. There's nothing wrong with getting a regular job. There's nothing wrong with working a 9 to 5 while you're in college. Like, everybody does it. Some people have to, that's their only way. And it's like, if you can find a way into entrepreneurship and do hair or do makeup and, you know, make a name for yourself, that's a great option as well.
In addition to that, I would say giving out your personal information, your debit card numbers, your Cash App, and all of that stuff. Be mindful of people asking you those types of questions, people asking you for like your email address, and you know, anything that just feels off. Again, this is where your gut comes in, and trusting your gut, not giving out your personal information to just any and anybody, or if you're getting random text messages.
Yeah, I was gonna say that the random text messages, emails, phone calls, like, oh, your package didn't get delivered, or oh, I heard something happened with your social media account, or your social security account, things like that. Just be very mindful and use your discernment. A lot of the times it'll be people from a different country, so I think that's a good indicator, like, this may not be right. If it's not a direct number from your bank, or if you can't hang up and call this person back, or if you can't hang up and call your bank and ask them about it, it's a very likely chance that you are being scammed. And in college, you're already penny pinching, you're already trying to be more independent, so you don't want to lose out on the money that you already have, that you already worked so hard to have, because you're being greedy and you want more.
Love that. Also, we need to get into and focus in. College is also a good time for you to start figuring out how to budget. If you parents, it's a good time to teach them before, but you really figure out your budgeting. Like, we can't always go to the cash register and realize we have overloaded the cart and don't have enough money to pay it.
I done been there.
And now we calling, trying to get that extra couple of packets of Oreos or the noodles covered and all of that other stuff. So learning how to budget is going to be very, very important. Another thing is, it's important that you establish a bond with your young adult. That's going to mean releasing the stronghold and the urge that you need to know everything, or you have the desire to want to know everything. Okay? This is where you're going to have to start trusting your young adult. And this is the part where, if you don't have a bond in place with them, for them to feel comfortable to come to you and talk to you and tell you stuff, that's something you're going to need to heavily work on. Because guess what? You cannot call up to whatever university these children are at, ask they people if they making it to class on time, asking people what are their grades and all that stuff. No. They're adults, baby.
And that's exactly what they're going to tell you when you call. They're going to say, oh, no, your child is grown. I can't really relinquish that information to you. So you definitely have to be mindful.
Right. So that's something you're going to have to start to do. It's important that you build a bond and you let them know, like, listen, there's no time, there's no hour, there's no day that you cannot call me with whatever it is. Like, I would even say, me and my daughter, we got even closer when she went away to school. We had, like, it became our routine. It wasn't an intentional routine, but, like, you know, for example, we would talk at certain times a day. She would be walking from one class to another. That was our time to, like, bond, connect, and download. So it's very important that you get in, you know, this is a transitional bond. This is not, I need to know every this, that, and the other. This is a transitional bond. Okay.
You don't want to know everything your kids are doing. Like, you think you want to know until we start telling you, and you're like, oh, wait, no, TMI. You do not want to know every, like, fiber of your child's being. You may think you want to because that's your child, but you don't.
What about sharing locations while they're, like, away? What do you think about that?
I'm on the fence about it. I actually had a conversation with my stepmom about this a few years ago. I feel like if you and your child already kind of have that bond, I think, on one hand, I think it's safe. Just God forbid something happens and, you know, you're the last person to have that location. You want to know where your child is, or at least where their cellular device is. On the other fence, if you're going to be a helicopter parent, no. Like, and it's not, it's just because nobody wants to be out having fun and you're in the middle of a party and your mom's calling you, where are you at? You're supposed to be in bed. Like, you don't want anyone jumping down your throat while you're trying to, experience things and have fun. Like, if I want to hang out with my friends, or if like we're having a kickback at the apartments and stuff, I don't need the music cutting off because my mama calling me, asking me why I'm not asleep because I got class in the morning. Like, no. So I'm on the fence about it. I think it really depends on the relationship that you have with your child. I've seen it go like certain ways. I've seen kids who are like just very sneaky with it. Then, they'll turn their location off when they go out. And then when they get back, they turn their location back on. Or I've seen like parent-children relationships where they're just very close and it's nothing to them. Where it's just like, okay, they're out.
Well, we never shared locations, but like if you were going out or something like that, I don't think you would run it by me or tell me anything first. No. Like if it came up in conversation, then it came up in conversation. But I do think now looking back, I would feel more comfortable if the locations were shared, just in case. I'm not a smother mother, so I don't like, oh, I see you here and I see you there. I think you have to know those boundaries with your children too, because it's important too. You're going into young adulthood, and it's okay to have boundaries with their parents. Like, look, I'm going to share my location with you, but this is only for safety reasons. Please, let's respect the fact you don't have to call me and whatever. Respect the fact and allow me to be an adult and to manage my time appropriately. Mm-hmm. Now, if I'm doing things that fall outside of being a responsible adult, then okay, we can have a different conversation.
I agree.
You agree? Okay, great.
I think boundaries are just important while your child is in college, whether they're in state or out of state, or even if your child lives at home. Like, it's important just to set those boundaries on both sides, because this is a big transition period. Your child is stepping into adulthood. And in order for them to learn how to be an adult, you have to give them the space to be an adult. You can't be down their throat all the time, because if they're missing class or if they're doing certain things, the school's not going to call you. Your child will come home for spring break or summer break or whatever, and then you'll find out they're on academic probation that way. Like, you're not going to know. You're just not going to know. So it's like you have to be able to set those boundaries and understand that, okay, my child's an adult now. Like, I can't coddle them or be up under them all the time.
That's true.
They're not babies anymore.
Exactly. And another thing that you should be aware of is your campus safety. What's your campus safety number? I know a lot of campuses have specific campus phone calls, phone booths to contact campus police. Mm-hmm. Those are just things you need to be aware of. I think walking around campus, especially walking around at night, you should have a buddy with you. Be safe. Like, somebody should know where you're going, especially if you're going at night and you plan on traveling alone. And if you plan on meeting somebody off campus, somebody should definitely know who you're hanging out with. I think it's just a matter of safety. No, you're not putting anything negative out into the atmosphere, but you're being safe and you're being responsible ultimately. Even me as an adult, if I go out with somebody new, you better believe I'm texting the license plate number to one of my people. Like, it's important to be safe. Oh, look, she laughing. It's important to be safe. Like, be responsible for yourself. Don't get yourself in any kind of wild situation that could be easily prevented if you just took an extra layer of care and concern for yourself.
Because even too, like, if you're not sharing locations with your parents, if you're have like a very close friend on campus, you can share locations with them. I did that. Like, my best friends when I was in college, they had my location. If I was going somewhere with someone that I wasn't really super familiar with, or this is my first time hanging out with this person, I tell them, hey, look, like, I'm going out so and so. We're gonna be going here. If you text me and I don't text back in XYZ amount of time, or you don't hear from me in XYZ amount of time, call the police.
And not only that, too, I think another thing people need to realize, too, you might need to have a code word between you and your friend when y'all text messaging. Because the crazy stuff I see is like something will happen. These predators or perpetrators, they'll text from that person's phone trying to make it seem like it's all good. Like I had, the other day, I had told her she need to text me my middle name now so I know everything is all good.
And I was about to text her another middle name.
Baby, I would have had the police at that location so quick had she would have played with me like that. I was
gonna text her the wrong middle name, but I said, child, I'm gonna be surrounded by cops in a minute. Let me stop playing. But with my friends, like our code word would be like a fruit, like pineapples or salt. Like I would say something, I suggest if you're gonna make a code word, it should be something short, something you can type up very quick, like salt or I don't know, I can't think of anything else. But salt was ours.
Okay, well that's good. I like that you mentioned something quick that you can text. So that's really good. So we're going to wrap up the episode. So my parting words is parents, get on that adult bonding tip, open the lines of communication, let the children know that you're there for them. It doesn't matter the time, the hour, and also don't go questioning them when they're in the middle of a crisis and reaching out for help. Just be there to help, deal with all the what, when, why, and where on the back end after they're safe. What are your closing words in getting ready for college?
My closing words is I second that. I think that you should definitely just be involved in what they have going on, but just also understand that they have boundaries and you may not talk to them every day, but always just be like that support system, that fallback system that they can fall on and that person that they can call on.
And I would recommend that when your child is away from school, you guys should be communicating every other day by hearing their voice, not by text, communication by call. So I want to thank you guys for joining us for talking about college readiness and expectations. I am Ebony Ivory. You can find me on all social media platforms, The Fly On, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And then you can find the podcast Conversations with The Fly on all podcasting platforms. In addition, I want to give a special shout out to my Australian and Bahrain listeners. I appreciate the love from out there. I appreciate everyone that listens in, and I want to give special kisses to my male listeners because I have a high percentage of male listeners out there.
I just want to say thank you for inviting me on another episode. My name is Naya. You can follow me on Instagram at ZAAMN.NYYAAY. And I'll see you guys around. Thank you.
Bye-bye.